Right, welcome back to the forest, here with Ted, and this is going to be a review of my firebox. I am going to be making some breakfast, and yeah. So I brought the little apocalypse kit package I got this like a couple weeks ago, and 5 stars so far. Now, I got my firebox originally over a year ago, I'd say, which is reasonable. I'll say I got it over a year ago. I'll put the date up on screen now. And I must have had over 1,000 fires with this. I go out in the forest and have a fire with this at least 3 times a week. Normally it's, you know, at least 3 times a week minimum. And, you know, I'll put the math up on screen, how many times that would be. Might not even be 1,000 fires, but a shit ton of fires. And I've absolutely used the fucking crap out of this thing. And I wanted to submit a review to YouTube because I know there are like thousands of these and you guys are gonna be like, oh, another one of these. I've seen hundreds of these already. Like, it's nothing new this guy's gonna say. But I've never seen anyone post a review after like a year of having this and an amount of fires of having this. The units they've reviewed of their fireboxes have always been in mint condition, and they've been warp free, and they haven't had anything to add to, you know, to say to firebox, oh, you should add this next time. So I'm going to actually contribute some helpful information to like firebox themselves and improvements they can make, and also to you guys, so you can see what a, you know, thoroughly used firebox looks like and how it actually holds up. Now, for starters, I'll put some videos as I'm talking about this on screen so you can see in detail and clearly how it looks and how it's warped and etc. But I don't know why, and I've never like cooled this down with water or anything like that, but it's just warped really badly. I'd say like the past 5 months especially. It's like if you put warping on a graph, it'd go up like that, and it just like compound up increasingly over the time span. So this is warped. I'll put up on I've tried to fix this, and I've tried to fix the warping on the stove by carefully, you know, bending it back or flattening it out, and it just hasn't worked. I'd say it's even worsened it a bit. Now, the actual box itself, it's still completely functional, still completely held up and folds down completely fine. It doesn't fold down as nice like that. If you see how it just, it's not, because it's not, nothing and it's flush anymore. This centerpiece in here is warped, so I'll show on screen now, but it doesn't completely flatten on the side of the box. And when you put it, now this is the main problem I've had with this box, the bottom tray falling out. So the bottom tray will do this, and I don't want to do it, but because I've just fixed it, but it'll do that, and I've only had to start, you know, bending it backwards as soon as it just by itself went like that as I was having a fire. So the main problem why that is this panel here is warping outwards like that, and also this panel as well. So both panels are like this, they're going out, they're like convexing and going out like that. So it's pulling this under tray away from this side panel here, and these hooks, I'll put them up on screen now, that slot into this thing for the hardcore, you know, quality, durability style of this box, are way too tiny and girly and finicky to slot in. They need to be at least curved and hook into these slots here, because when this panel pulls away, it's just gonna, well, you see it just falls down. I'd suggest, if they're gonna even make a new iteration of this box, have those clips way more like thick and, like, you know, just a bit more. I don't want to be like I don't want it to be way too much bulkier, but more, you know, pronounced, sturdier and hooked. So when it comes down, it hooks onto those latches there on the bottom. So if that does warp away or come away, it will probably stop that from warping out even further, because it will hold it in, and also stop that bottom tray from eventually falling out like it has from mine, because it will be hooked in. It'll stop that. Now, I don't know what point I'm on, but I'll call it second. The bottom tray is way too thin and is warped the worst. The bottom tray takes the most amount of heat, and it is, I'd say it's warped the most, and it's not great. And it's the main reason why the firebox doesn't fold down flush anymore. I think they made it the same thickness as everything else. I don't know. They just need to make, yeah, I don't know, but they need to make the whole box this level of durability. These side panels here have held up extremely well. They've kind of warped out a bit, but these two are the only panels that have really held up really well. I know it's because there's some radiator here, so this panel here is separated by this like radiator of gaps here, so it can expand and contract. These ones haven't got it, so they just can warp out like that. I know the bottom panel is extremely radiant, but it's still warped really bad, so I don't know how they'd fix that, but this design here has really held up well. I don't know why my box has warped. I don't want to say so much, but you know, it's warped. I've never put coal in it. You know, normally when I'm done with a fire, I'll just tip the fire out and then leave it on like a freestanding thing like that to get some airflow and cool down quickly. Maybe that's causing it to warp because it's cooling down too fast. Maybe English wood is really hot. Like, yeah, maybe like English wood is like massively hot, but you know, the guy that invented firebox did a test himself where he burns like charcoal in it for 8 hours and that didn't warp it. But that was a brand new firebox and it was a first time use. This has had like hundreds and hundreds, maybe 1,000 fires in it.
This is actually match light. Yeah, that is screaming hot. Go ahead and sight down that pretty good. So I started stacking them in here, trying to in all 4 and that worked. But and I'll move this outside. But it would be large enough that it would actually pushing through that little hole that the heat that the briquettes do generate, plugging it all up. So maybe I won't put this other piece down in.
I know all fireboxes style designs like this, which are effectively rip-offs of this, because this is the original, warp, and you know, this has the best reputation for not warping, but other than that, it's just aesthetic. It's still completely fine. Yeah, apart from that, 5 stars. There's like, you know, I could glaze this thing. Like I've said all the bad about it, problems I've had with it. I could just go on about glazing it and how amazing it is, but if you own one, you already know what it's about. And like, if you've seen the other reviews, which you probably have, you already know how amazing it is. Other than that warping issue, it's 10 out of 10, 11 out of 10. I love it. Like, this is my number 1 main go-to, like, bushcraft piece of kit. Whenever I go out to the forest, I use this. In fact, most of the time when I go out camping overnight, I'll use this for an overnight camp because it's just so good. It's such a good stove that it even beats sometimes a proper old-fashioned standard campfire. Yeah, that's pretty much it. If you're thinking about getting any sort of wood burner or stove like this, go for this one. This is the original proper one. You know, it's like getting an iPhone over an Android. This is like the iPhone of wood burning stoves. It's properly done and thought out and engineered compared to the rest. You know, made in the USA, not some China crap. Tested and built and invented by a guy that's an actual outdoor bushcraft, you know, geezer. Yeah, all I can say is just invest in getting the titanium one, way lighter as well. It'll last forever. This should last me for my entire life. I don't see why it would completely fail. Like, maybe it just warp into like a metal hump of slag, maybe. Like, I think it's just going forever. You know, I'll definitely buy another one of these. I'm definitely going to invest in a freestyle stove. Anyway, let's get some breakfast on, get the fire going, and yeah, it's going to be sick. Alright guys, look at this. Fire's back up, look at the breakfast. I know the eggs aren't great, but managed to keep one of them still soft. Look at, wait a minute. Look at that. On the fire, managed to keep it soft. That one, this one didn't go that well. Some of the bacon's a bit dodgy, but that's alright. Look at that. And I'm going to get the toast on. Wait for that to cool down a bit, just because I don't want the toast to burn. Look at Ted there. Ted wants some bacon. The heat isn't very even, but you know. Bro, look at that. I've mastered perfect toasting on the firebox. Let's go. Ted's coming over to investigate. That guys, God, it's so messy and just crap. But look at that. And a dog. First time getting soggy eggs. I don't want to say soggy eggs. The egg yolk, where you know it's still, I don't know how to call it, but it's runny egg yolk. Oh, Ted, did you burn yourself? Oh, the smoke. Some of the bacon's a little too well cooked for me, so Teddy can have them. She can eat that. That's a little doggy dish you can have. I'll clean it later, so it's fine with it. I don't even know how many bacon rashers that was, but it's an entire packet. There's a lot of them in the packet. My fire's kind of been a pain in the arse here. Don't really need it anymore, so I'm just gonna leave it. Alright guys, that's gonna be the end of the video. If you want to buy one of these fireboxes, link in the description. You can go to their official website, or there's like a dealer that do them in UK if you're in the UK, but they're hella overpriced because they have to deal with the shipping and custom fees as well, so it's up to you. Do your own calculations on that. Yeah, that's it. Ted had some bacon and stuff. Ted's really going at it. This bloody pan is empty. Been empty for ages. It's finished, Ted. You finished it. Yeah. You're just getting more fur in it.